I'm Krystle. I've loved dolls my whole life. I collect everything from porcelain to cloth, American Girl, neonates, and real care dolls. But my favorite is to collect and make Reborn dolls. There's Chloe, Grace, Jeremy, Maya, Yuki, Savannah, Zoe, Haley, Landon, Maisie, and Joshua. It isn't easy keeping up with my collection, but it sure is a lot of fun. Hey guys, I know I'm a hot mess right now, but that's quarantine. It's actually become summer overnight. We literally have gone from winter to summer overnight. So I have shoved my hair in a ponytail because I am boiling. It's very humid in here. I've got to pull out our dehumidifier now. Like, we literally went from using our humidifier last week to now we're going to need a dehumidifier. Like, what the heck? This has been happening the last couple of years here. And like, we used to have a spring where it would be, you know, winter weather, then it would gradually get warmer. And so that way you would get that beautiful in-between temperature that I always look forward to and love, is like when it's like 18, 19, 20 degrees Celsius. That's the temperatures that I love because it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just perfect. But we had like maybe 2 days of that, and then it was bam, hot weather. So anyways, this video is an introduction to the main part of this video. And that is that on Friday evening after dinner, I got my stroller out. I put Noah in the car seat and then the car seat in the stroller because it's like a travel system. So I brought him to the park with a muslin blanket. Then I took 3 of my American Girl dolls, Kanani, Joss, and Blair. I put them in the basket on the bottom of the stroller, covered them with the muslin blanket. Brought my really good camera, my Canon Rebel, and walked over to the park. And so by then it had cooled down a little. I was still hot because I don't have my summer clothes out yet. I have to wash them first. I store them in those Space Saver bags, and so they come out all wrinkled and smelling like plastic, so I always wash them before I wear them. But I haven't had a chance to do that yet because, of course, the people upstairs are hogging the laundry room again. They threw some laundry in there today and then left. So I'm going to write a little note for them in there and tell them to have it clear by tomorrow so I can do my laundry. Anyways, that's a whole other issue. But so I just had a short sleeve shirt on and the lightest pair of pants I could find. And I went to the park and I had a blast. This was my first time taking my American Girls outside of my front yard, or an American Girl store, to photograph. And I had so much fun. The sun was setting, so the lighting was perfect. I don't like when it's super bright and sunny for lighting. I like it when it's either overcast or, you know, the sun's just setting. Oh my gosh. So I had so much fun. I got beautiful pictures, which I'm going to show you in this video. But before I do, I just had to share a funny story that happened at the park. So actually 2 funny stories, but the first one is the best one. So I get to the park and there's a few people at the park, but everyone's, you know, kind of doing their own thing. all distancing, and, you know, it was just mainly people walking on the paths or the trails or whatever. There was one guy that was just standing in the middle of the field. They've opened park benches now, so there's some people sitting on the benches or whatever. But oh my gosh, so I'm like looking around and I'm like, you know what? Like, everyone's distancing, so I don't think I have to worry about anyone asking me what the heck I'm doing, because they're going to be keeping their distance or whatever. So I'm like, I don't have to worry about any of that awkwardness. And I decide to start my photo shoot with Joss. So I take Joss out from under the stroller, and I'm trying to find a spot where I want to set her up, that the lighting is perfect and everything like that. So I decide I'm going to put her in front of this tree. And behind the tree is a hill that leads down to the sidewalk beside the street. And as I'm setting her up, I haven't even taken a picture yet. I'm just setting her up, and I'm looking in my camera to try and like get the lighting right and everything like that. And I'm adjusting the settings on my camera and everything. And I'm down there on the grass, and I see this elderly couple walking on the sidewalk at the bottom of the hill. And out of the corner of my eye, I can tell that they're looking at me. And I could tell they're probably kind of like wondering what I'm doing. But I'm like, I'm just going to ignore them. I'm not going to look at them. And then all of a sudden, as I'm continuing what I'm doing, I notice that the man is starting to come up the hill. And I'm like, oh gosh, he is coming to see what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, this is great. So, and I usually have no problem with these sort of scenarios if I'm with other Dolly friends. But when I'm by myself, I'm a little more reserved and hesitant about it. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm just like trying not even to look, not even looking. So then I see him come around, and I could tell from the corner of my eye, he was standing behind me. And he was just staring at Joss. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm not saying anything. I'm just like continuing on with what I'm doing, trying to ignore the fact that this man is standing behind me, staring at me. And then finally he goes, now he was, I think he was like a Middle Eastern person or East Indian or something like that. There was a language barrier because when he tried to speak to me, his English wasn't very clear. So it was hard to understand. So the first thing he said, which I did understand, was he goes, "It's Doll." And I'm like, uh-huh. And I'm like, yep. And he goes, oh. And then I'm like, I just proceed, on. And then he goes, how did he, I don't even really know. I still am not really 100% sure what he was trying to ask me. But he's like, you from where? I think that's what he was saying. Or you from here? Or something like that. And I was like, sorry, I don't understand. And then he tries to say it again. He's like, from here, you from here, or something like that. And I'm like, I live in the neighborhood. Right? I'm like, I live in the neighborhood. And he goes, oh. And then he walks away. And I was like, what? So I don't really know what he was trying to ask me. But, like, I didn't know if he meant, was I from Canada? or from the neighborhood, or did I come from out of the neighborhood there? Or like, I don't know what he was trying to get at. And I don't know what it had to do with the fact that I was photographing my doll. But I just found that hilarious. And then another funny thing that happened was trying to photograph the dolls. So I didn't have doll stands because when I'm trying to take really nice pictures of my dolls, and I mean, I follow so many American Girl Instagram accounts now that have really inspired me to like do more with the photography, because like they take these incredible pictures with like these beautiful sceneries, and they never use doll stands. They have their dolls standing. So I'm like, yeah, it looks more realistic that way, right? So trying to get American Girl dolls to stand on the grass. First off, the grass was long. It hadn't been cut yet. So the grass was long, there was dandelions everywhere, and the ground is not even everywhere. So trying to get them to balance and stand up was so hard. And Kanani fell on her face several times when I was trying to photograph her. And then when I was trying to get them set up for a group picture, the three of them, oh gosh, Kanani would start to fall and I'd grab her and set her up. Then I would step back to start to take the picture. And then next thing you know, Blair was starting to fall down, and it was just like, oh my gosh. And then the worst was when I was trying to do a picture of them standing on top of the hill and looking at like the field of dandelions because I thought it looked really pretty. And I have blooper pictures and I'll show them to you. You can see Blair just about to fall on her face. And then in the other one, Joss was like falling backwards, although it's not totally apparent in the picture, but you can kind of see that it's a bit blurry because she's like falling backward. But it was just like, I got them set up, I stepped back, and then a breeze would come and blow on over. It was incredible. It was like a workout to try and take pictures of the American Girls. Now, Noah, I also photographed. He's a reborn doll, so he was a lot easier because he's like a baby. So I would just have him like laying on the grass or laying on a blanket. I had him posing on a blanket. I had him sitting up like a baby, like so much easier, so much easier. Then on the way home, I decided to take this other route home and go through this other street that I rarely ever go walking on. And I walked up there and the street was empty, which was nice because the other streets were busy. But this street was empty and I saw this beautiful bush or tree / bush that had all these beautiful white flowers in it. And I was like, oh, I really want to try getting a picture of one of my dolls like climbing in the tree of flowers. I thought it would look beautiful. So I decided to pick Joss because her hair is the easiest to fix. And I thought I didn't want Kanani's, her hair was already kind of getting messy. And I didn't want it to get like, because it's so long, didn't want it to get caught in the branches. So I'm like, no Kanani. And Blair has her beautiful like curls, which I didn't want messed up either. So I'm like, let's go with Joss. She's just got straight hair, easy fix if it gets caught in the branches. So I'm like looking around and I'm like, oh, there's no one out here. And then as I'm setting Joss up in the bush, I notice that there is actually someone sitting on their porch across the street and a few houses down. And she's watching me like, what is this girl doing? Because I stop with my stroller. I pulled Joss out from under the stroller, which she probably saw all of this. Then I'm setting her up in the tree. So anyways, I'm like, okay, just ignore it. And then she went inside. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I got two really beautiful pictures there. But Joss's hearing aid fell off in the process, and I didn't even realize it until after I took the pictures and went to take her out of the tree, and I saw it, and I was like, oh crap. So I'm like, before I took her out of the tree, I'm like looking around the bottom of the tree. I'm looking on the sidewalk, like trying to figure out where or when it fell off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it's a good thing American Girl included a second hearing aid in case you lose one. But I'm looking for it, and I'm like digging in the grass around the bottom of the tree, and I almost grabbed a snail. I was like, oh. So there was snails around the bottom of the tree, and I was like, whoa. Uh, so anyways, I'm like, I'm not finding this hearing aid, so I guess I'll just take her out of the tree and we'll go. So I take her out of the tree, and then I'm like, maybe it got caught in her hair or her shirt or something. Sure enough, it was in her shirt. So I found her hearing aid, but she's not wearing her hearing aid in the photos, because I was like, well, I'm not putting her back in the tree now. But I got beautiful pictures. So those are the stories I wanted to share with you, because I found them very humorous at the time. I don't know if you'll find them funny, but I just had to document it because it was my first time taking my American Girls out in public to take photos of them, and it was quite the experience for me. So anyways, I hope you enjoy seeing the photos. I'm really happy with how they came out. I'm getting better with using the settings on my camera, and it's inspired me to do more photography with it. So I hope you enjoy them, and here they are, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.